What's going on, everybody? Tyler Croft here with TAC Fitness, starting something a little new on the channel this week that I am currently deeming as Movement Mondays. Now, the whole idea behind this series is to take an exercise or a movement that a lot of people seem to struggle with and kind of just break them down into the simplest way of doing the exercise. Giving certain cues, giving certain technique breakdowns and things like that, common faults where people end up having issues with that exercise, and showing how it needs to be done, what cues you need to be thinking about. Hopefully that can help the majority of people do these exercises pain-free, full range of motion, and get the most bang out of that exercise. Now, the first exercise we're going to be covering in this series is honestly one of my personal favorite exercises, and an exercise that I think everybody needs to be doing at some point in their programming, and that is barbell rows. Some of the benefits of barbell rows include building a big back. I honestly do not believe that you can build a big back without having some type of row in your program at any point in time. They are quintessential to building a giant slab of muscle. You may also notice that you develop increased grip strength. Whether you're using straps or not, your strength will get better. What I tend to do is the first couple of weeks where the rows are a little bit lighter, I will resist the urge to wear straps because it's going to be hammering my grip. Now, as the weight starts to get heavier, I will throw on some straps because I'm not doing rows to work my grip. I'm doing rows to work my back. However, I don't want my grip to be a limiting factor. It's still getting hit when you're using straps, just not as hard. Now, they also come along with increased core stability. Being bent over in a position where you have to do rows and you're doing heavy rows and your core is braced the entire time, you will work your core. And finally, the best benefit for power lifters and anybody that cares about their bench press, learning how to do barbell rows properly will allow you to learn how to retract your shoulder blades, as well as flexing your back and keeping your back tight in a position that is conducive to having a really big bench press. Having a big bench press isn't just about your triceps and just about your chest. You need to be able to have a foundation to lay against the bench to be able to push against, and that is your back. Now, it doesn't matter if you're lifting the weight out of a rack or straight from the ground. I honestly like to start my rows out in a very similar way to how I start out my deadlifts. I go down to the bar, I keep the bar over mid-foot, I brace my core, I flex my back, and I lift my sternum nice and tall. And that way, whenever I'm lifting the weight up, I'm basically deadlifting the weight up. That's what I found to be the safest way and the most comfortable way for me to get into the starting position of a row. Now, once you're at the top of this deadlift, what you're simply going to do is start pushing your butt back. A lot of people have the inclination of just bending over. If you've ever noticed lower back pain during a row, it's probably because you're not engaging your hips and you're not pushing your butt back. Right? If you bend over with the bar, it's one, not going to be over midfoot anymore, so it's going to feel heavier, and two, it's going to be putting your back in a compromised position versus loading your hamstrings and your glutes. And I've honestly found that the best way to know that I'm in a good position is if the bar is hanging directly over the middle of my foot. It literally chops my foot in half. One thing that I ended up struggling with when I first started doing rows, and what a lot of people also struggle with, is honestly feeling your lats during the row. I found that when I was starting out, I felt it more in my biceps, I felt it more in my arms. So one thing that I had to actually start doing was engaging the pull from my ring fingers. So I imagine my ring fingers as a hook that wrapped around the bar, clenching the bar as hard as I can. And whenever I did that, it allowed me to feel my lats contract more. I don't know the science behind this, if there is any science, if it's placebo. It's just what worked best for me. Now, once you're in this bottom position and you're getting ready to start performing your rows, I want you to think about going in the same range of motion as your bench press. When you're bench pressing, you're not benching with your elbows all the way out here. You're benching with your elbows tucked in at a 45-degree angle, giving you the most power. That's what I want you to be thinking of with your rows. So at a 45-degree angle, you're gonna pull the bar up to your torso, touch and squeeze. During this entire range of motion, you want to keep your back flat and bring the bar up to either your chest or your stomach, depending on what part of your back you're trying to hit. If you want to focus more on your lats, you want to bring the bar to your stomach. If you want to focus more on your traps, your rhomboids, and your upper back, then you're going to want to bring the bar closer up towards your sternum. Now, more on keeping your back flat. A lot of people are going to be doing rows with significant weight. Even if it's full range of motion, focusing on the muscle, it still needs to be a pretty decent weight. So you definitely do not want to be having any kind of rounding or any kind of extension, any kind of movement in the spine during a row. That is a recipe for getting hurt. There are going to be certain row variations that do call for this. However, it's much more specialized. The weight's going to be much lighter, and you definitely need to know how to do a proper row before getting into these other variations. So that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you take something away from this and that you will start putting barbell rows and other types of rows in your programs, because I definitely do think they help and they are a massive benefit. If you don't really know where to put them, shameless plug, I do personalized programming and one-on-one personal training month to month. So if you have any questions or any help when it comes to anything like that, you can definitely get in contact with me. I'll put my email and Facebook and all the stuff down below in the description, so you can find me there, shoot me a message, and we can definitely set something up. So now, until the next video, please comment, like, and subscribe. I definitely want to try and get this channel really large, which means I definitely need to start uploading a little bit more, which is why I'm trying to start a series. Hopefully that will force me to be a little bit more consistent, because you can't grow without putting out content. So until the next video, guys, I am out.